All right, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Aye, honorable.
Okay, we'll start recording once you're ready, dude. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready. I did start recording.
Well, I'm not ready. Why do you start recording?
Because you just said, literally, we will play this tape. Everybody watch and play this tape back. Nick tricked me like he did on New Year's when he told me he was going to kiss the cardboard cutout, but he actually kissed my sister in the closet of my room.
To be fair, I was...
Drunk.
Your sister is pretty flat as well, so...
That was just me wearing a dress.
Oh, that's hot.
Okay, all right, everybody. So welcome to Seriously Sidetracked. I'm Josh, and this is...
I'm pretty sure I'm the chauffeur.
Oh yeah, from Duran Duran, the chauffeur. I love that song.
All I do is just drive Josh everywhere.
Yeah, because I'm ruler of the universe. That's how it has to be. I have power, everybody. I have power.
Who does not have a license.
Yeah, that's kind of the... because I'm a rich dude. I don't need it. I'm a billionaire. I don't need it.
So how are you going to get to space without a license?
I'm just gonna...
Are you going to be the next billionaire who makes
I could bribe... So yeah, I could just bribe the judges.
By the way, okay, those two billionaires, they didn't make it into space. They made it into suborbital space at best.
Yeah, that was kind of meh.
Just go to Mars, people. Come on. I just want to throw myself in watching Mars. Because here's the thing. When people finally land on Mars, and let's be honest, people land on Mars, they're probably settling down for a long time.
Yeah, because they sit on a glass jar and fart. Okay, all right, you continue.
So, when people,
sit on a glass jar.
So when people land on Mars, first off, we are, what did we just do, Josh? We went to the bar, right?
Yeah, we went to the bar, and basically what I did is I put on like a cat fursuit and went to the nearest furry con that I've always dreamed of since I was 5 years old.
Oh, was there a ball pit there?
Yeah, it was Dr. Eggman and his friend.
Okay. Here's an interesting thing. The furry community...
It's the greatest community ever.
Gets very... I'm not a part of it, but I will say that...
Yeah, you are.
I've heard some things from, like, friends who are furries, and like, the furry community gets a reputation of overt sexualism, you know?
Yeah.
And perversion that it... honestly is not the majority of what the community is. The drawings in itself, yeah, like the drawings...
No, they're masterpieces. I love them.
The drawings they, make, will probably have sexual undertones.
And that's what makes them so great.
But the actual people themselves are not sexual deviants or shit like that.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Parts like that, they get very much... made fun of for stuff like that, which they really shouldn't.
that happens a lot with like so many different communities, man. Like it's not just like them. Like it happens with any fandom when you have like a close circle of like, on the internet where you can instantly react to something, instantly see something. People choose to see what is the most, what really sells the most, what grabs the most
loudest,
attention.
even if it's the
minority.
The
fandom, in every fandom. So it becomes basically like the real voice of the fandom, even if they weren't intended to or not. It creates a really negative connotation. I mean, we've seen this with Sonic, we've seen this with Star Wars, we've seen this with Rick and Morty. I mean, really, it's just not a fair thing to do.
Rick and Morty has not, I think as a fandom has not run the paces of how bad other fandoms can get. No, they've had a few instances where it's just been unbearable, such as with the Fickle Rick and the Szechuan sauce, and
that one guy at McDonald's, and
but the thing is, like, the actual, or like thinking that Rick is the embodiment of themselves, and everyone should, and that they think fans thinking they're Rick and stuff, and looking up to him as a role model. So that's bad, but in terms of like, I guess, people talking about it online to people that aren't fans about it, there's not much discourse. There's not a lot of presence of it online, of people, being like, oh my gosh, this episode of Rick and Morty, I stan, or like, I would literally die for Rick, or some shit like that. Like, I'm not saying that like, I'm not an active member of the Rick and Morty fandom.
Yeah, you're more of a minority yourself.
I'm a very casual fan of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But I don't think the fandom of Rick and Morty has gone as toxic as it can be.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely going to become more toxic, I think, probably in the next few years. But I don't think it's reached the peak of its toxicity.
Yeah, it's still got some ways to go. I mean, there's only been a couple real incidents. I mean, it was just a couple memes, really. Like, with a lot of fandoms, it's sort of like years and years of like grievances and other things. I mean, you see that with the Sonic community. That's been a thing since, I would argue, since like 1998.
I think
like Rick and Morty, it's been like this attitude. Just sort of, it was just sort of like a peak and valley kind of thing, kind of like how life is. You have your up and down. You don't really have this straightforward linear path. It just sort of happens. You go up, you have a bad day, you have a good day. You have a bad day, you have a good day. And that's like how this is. This is just that big incident, is that little peak. And, it's not always like that. And since then, I mean, there really hasn't been as much. It was just during around the time of season 3 when it became mainstream. The first thing is sometimes is that knee-jerk reaction that you see online to new things. But, I mean, honestly, though, it's just really, really fantabulous.
I could see that Rick and Morty becoming very toxic after the show ends. Because I could see a lot of people arguing forever about whether the finale was good or not. The angry man in the basement. Whether it was true to Rick's character or not.
Yeah, imagine they just don't.
Character.
Yeah. On that topic, what do you think what would in your mind would be a good finale as a casual fan of Rick and Morty, and why? Like, they're like things that you want Rick to do, you want the characters to do.
Fuck.
I mean, you know what I would say they should do.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say, because like it's. Here's the thing. I think. So, here's the thing. Rick can, by the definition of the show, can do anything if he wants to, right?
Yeah, he could even...
The thing is, though, he obviously suffers from depression and alcoholism.
Yeah,
and
don't we all?
And so, I think the thing is, like, you can see in a lot of analysis, so the one thing Rick will not do is he will not alter his brain's psychology and his functionality, because that would be admitting to himself that he cares and that he suffers from those problems. So I could see the finale being that he
sacrifices himself to save everyone.
But
then like nobody knows he did it,
so
and that's what makes it the ultimate.
I think the finale would him finally like
sitting on a glass jar and farting.
Opening himself up and operating on himself to operate on his brain and remove his emotions, right? And it basically becomes like a robot. And then the whole episode is dealing with that until like they're able to get him to have emotions again, and he's like, okay, yeah, that's a bad idea. That's kind of how the finale ends. It's like him being like, that was like the biggest, like his biggest thing was his emotions, and that he's like, okay, well, I have these. I don't know. The show can end in a lot of different ways. I don't think it should. I don't think it's going to end in a big climactic way.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be super subversive. Like, it's going to be like. I don't think it's also going to be like really emotional either. I think it would. Like, the show, like, obviously has like bigger mysteries.
Yeah, like why would anybody watch it if they're afraid of me? Because they're afraid of the fact that I watch it, and because I watch it, people don't watch it. That's what I've been told in the streets.
I don't know. The show could go a lot of ways.
It could.
What was I saying before all this?
You were saying that you were going to give me all your personal information, belongings, and allow me to assume your identity when I am bored with my own. Thank you.
No, I'm Josh.
No, I'm Josh.
We're Spartacus.
Oh.
I'm Spartacus.
And I am still a Kids Next Door operative.
I'm Spartacus. We are Spartacus.
We are number one.
What if there was like one guy in that crowd? And you've seen that scene, right? you have Spartacus seen?
I have not actually.
It's so like this slave is in trouble and he's gonna be killed. And when he's like, and like so the general or the emperor's like, who will be Spartacus? Stand up, so that the others may be spared. And he's about to stand up, and then someone stands like so he stands up and says, "I am Spartacus," and then someone next to him is like, "I am Spartacus," and then more and more people stand up and like, "I am Spartacus," basically symbolizing they will die together or die for each other. Like they will not let one person sacrifice himself for everyone else. But what if there's like one guy in the crowd who was just like, who just didn't stand up? He was like, no, I'm just Josh. I don't want to die.
Yeah, like it creates like a whole commentary on mob rule and how like you really don't want to let the mob rule. They're going to tell him what to do, but like at the very core,
but the same way, it's like
stand
also,
up for his own rights and freedoms.
I think in the same way, though, it is also the flip point of mob mentality, which can bolster and encourage very supportive cooperation between so many people.
Well, that's true. I like that too. I mean, that's how I feel about a lot of things in our world. You know, I think that people should help each other when they can.
Well, there's like a number where it's just like it shows that like you, I think it's Dukov's number. It's like a number of 150. That's a number where once you get past that in a group, then that changes how a mob acts or something, or how a group acts.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. That sounds interesting. But yeah, I mean, it does vary. I mean, when you have, this is something I was thinking about earlier too. Like, you know, when you have like a medium-sized like event or party, it's like the vibe is much more chill, and it's like it's not to the point where it's like really just a typical, this is just a regular day hanging out with a couple friends. It's like an event, but it's not quite like, oh my God, everybody's not even focusing on me, even though it's my birthday or my party, because there's just so many people here. There's just not enough to keep me centered, because again, my goal is I crave power and I need to rule. So I thought, why don't we make a great social experience for everybody that allows me to also command it? And that's what you do at medium-sized events.
So you make a army that constantly parties?
No, like, just in some weekends. I mean, it's like that TV show. It's like that famous that movie, Space Jam. You ever heard of it?
No, what's Space Jam?
So it's this movie that came out in 1996.
Oh, okay. So what is it like? It like takes place in like is it like about astronauts and like has something to do with music or something?
No, actually, what it has to do with is basketball and Looney Tunes. It's the Looney Tunes cartoons, and they play with Michael Jordan.
Whoa, okay, hold on, slow down. So basketball and
we've got balls.
Basketball. All right, I recognize the first word, but what do you mean, Looney Tunes? I'm not like what happens in the movie.
So basically, the whole space part is because there's these aliens. They work on an amusement park.
Whoa! So, who made this movie?
Warner Brothers.
Wait, so Warner Brothers made contact with aliens, and they made a movie with them?
No, they're fictional animated aliens. They're not real ones.
Oh, okay. So this whole movie's animated?
Oh, part of it's live action.
Whoa! Live action? How can you be animated but also live action?
Well, it's like an editing technique. They put the characters, like the cells, on like the real world thing.
How do you? I want an animated character next to me. Why can't they make an animated thing come to life next to me? I don't understand.
Because he's not in a movie. It's like an editing effect. You got to be making a movie.
I want an anime girl edited into my life.
Well, sorry, but I mean, if you want the next best thing, Lola Bunny's in that movie.
Who the fuck is Lola Bunny?
She's they made this new girl Looney Tune character.
Oh, okay,
she's a bunny.
She's a bunny.
Yeah, like Bugs. She's like his crush, and her whole thing is she basically.
All right, so this animated bunny, is this like a pet that one of the characters has in the movie?
No, she's anamorphic. She stands on her own like the human characters.
But rabbits. Okay, first off, bunny's very offensive. It's a rabbit. Rabbits cannot stand. They're on all fours.
In the movie, the characters, the Looney Tunes, they can stand on their legs like humans.
What? Why? That is against God's image.
Dude, it's not even VeggieTales.
Only humans stands on. on 2 legs. That is weird, creating God's image.
Well, then say that to Sonic the Hedgehog and BoJack Horseman and Arthur.
Who the fuck are the... Okay, back to the Looney basketball. So, why are they playing basketball? Who's playing basketball?
Well, basically, it's the Looney Tunes, and they have to play against these aliens because the aliens threaten that they're
Who?
gonna...
Okay, so the Looney Tunes, these are animated creations, yes?
Yep, yes.
Alright, so where does the live action part come in?
Well, basically, the whole thing is the aliens they come to our world and they steal the powers of famous basketball players.
What? And there was no, suspicion about this at all?
Yes, there was. In the film, there's a whole thing where they cancel the NBA season because they think there's something wrong with the players.
I don't remember the NBA season ever being canceled except for COVID.
Well, this movie kind of predicted it in a weird kind of ironic way. It's very strange.
Okay. So they steal... How do they steal, their powers?
Well,
they
have
torture them or something?
No, they just have this weird, they have, this little, basketball thing they put out, and, this weird, mystical rainbow stuff comes in, and it lands in the basketball.
Okay, so this movie... Okay, power to this movie. It has LGBT.
Well, it's not like a full
imagery.
rainbow. It's just different colors of there's a purple one.
Why did you get my hopes up, Josh?
It's not my fault. You tell the movie directors. I mean, if you wanted a movie, there is all kinds of things in the movie that are pretty interesting. One of my favorite quotes has got to be this one scene where there's this cat character, he's Sylvester, right? And he's like, "We've got balls!" And he opens the cabinet.
Cats can't talk.
Well, the cartoon cats can, and Sylvester
Why?
can. Why not? It's a fun little movie for kids to see with their family.
Okay, so but wait, this is a kids movie, and you have aliens stealing things?
Yes.
And ruining basketball careers? They're ruining basketball careers. Why would you show that to a child?
Well, because the overall message is about not giving up because they win the game at the
Okay,
end.
then just have a regular basketball movie. Why do you have to have sexy bunnies?
Because it's not as entertaining. It also just adds a bit of variety because then it's like the...
Alright, but where does this live action part come in? So they just steal powers from other basketball players?
Well, so there's that, and the whole thing is they want them for their amusement. Well, the whole reason that they even play basketball against each other is because when they first show up, they're really short. Okay, so the Looney Tunes think, okay, these guys want to take us, force us to perform comedy for them like they're servants.
Sorry, whoa. What?
Yeah, so basically the whole aliens plan is they're basically going to force the Looney Tunes into servitude doing comedy acts.
Slavery?
Yes.
In a kids movie?
It's to teach you how bad it is. It's done in the context that it's a bad thing. They're the villains of the movie. You got to give them tangible goals.
And so obviously these aliens are punished for their crimes, right?
Oh, no,
they go to jail?
No,
they're put on court?
No, they give them a second chance and let them become their own Looney Tunes at the end of the movie.
What?
Yeah, they
You cannot reward slavery.
Well, there's a lot of things that...
Alright, so they're part of the Looney Tunes now, so we see them in later Looney Tunes cartoons, right?
No, we don't. But we do. They
what?
They They made a sequel though to Space Jam. They make a cameo in it.
Okay. All right. I feel like okay. So the Looney Tunes are now outclassed by these aliens. So how do they beat them?
Well, they basically, so the thing starts is they're in the middle of the game, they're losing, and then the basketball star Michael Jordan, who's
Whoa! Where the fuck did Michael Jordan come from?
Well, he's in the world, and then he quits the basketball season for a bit.
Right? Yes, I do remember that happening. Yes.
And he goes baseball, and then he's playing golf with his buddies, and the Looney Tunes realize they need help to beat because the short little aliens, they turn into these big monsters called Monstars after they steal the talents. And so basically, Michael Jordan, they basically use they basically suck him into the golf hole because the Looney Tunes world is at the center of the earth.
Okay, so Michael Jordan is kidnapped by the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, because they need his help to
again,
beat the
in a kids movie.
Yeah, well, it's a comedy movie. Anything can happen, dude.
Right.
It's not taking that
So they're
seriously.
kidnapped. He's kidnapped by the Looney Tunes, and obviously he's very confused to see anthropomorphic animals, right?
Yeah. Well, he at first he's like, "You're a cartoon. You're not real."
Whoa. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, he says they're a cartoon.
Well, because in the series, the Looney Tunes are still cartoons in their world. He watches them on TV.
So they're on
the
TV. So does that mean there's someone who? Okay, so they live in the center of the earth. So does that mean there's someone who would put a camera in the center of the earth and just films the Looney Tunes?
No.
Or does this mean that someone fucking made the Looney Tunes and these Looney Tunes have no free will because they are instead just creations of someone's imagination? What the fuck? This is bringing up way too many existential questions for me, Josh.
Well, the thing about that is, the Looney Tunes, basically, they're animated. They're not like they didn't really film anything except like the scenes with the basketball game.
Okay, so wait, so what does this mean? So, okay, at the end of every Looney Tunes episode, right?
Yep.
You have credits.
Yep.
And in those credits, there's a list of accredited animators, right?
Yep.
And character
and
design.
voice actors.
So what the fuck does this mean about if there's actual Looney Tunes in the center of the earth? What the hell is who are these people that says they animated, design, and voice these characters? Are they liars, or does this mean that the Looney Tunes are embodied by these people, or that these are manifestations of the creative talents? What the fuck is going on?
Well, what's going on is that society is making movies like this, and like it's like
and they do not
they,
answer these questions. I need this movie to be 6 hours long to explain the fundamentals to me.
Well,
I don't even understand how to play basketball. That's at least another hour right there.
Yeah, that's not the point of it. It's supposed to be a fun kind of game, competition movie.
It's a fun game competition where the stakes are, if you lose, you become a slave.
Yeah.
How is that fun?
Because they don't lose, they win. They actually win, so it has a very happy ending. Like you want to see.
No, I would think they would still have nightmares about and be traumatized over the prospect of them losing.
But it doesn't happen, so they don't have to worry about it. Like, what do you think this is?
I
Zimbabwe?
worry about this.
This is Zimbabwe.
I worry about this.
I worry about you too, man. Thanks, man.
Alright, so Michael Jordan gets so Michael Jordan, so he's so this is a movie, right?
Yep.
So I didn't know Michael Jordan could act.
Well, the thing about that is, he's there. He's not really an actor, though. You know, he's more of a sports player, but he's in the movie. You know, like he's not like this like.
So he's like a side character. He's only there as like a cameo.
No, he's still a main character.
Okay, he's a main character, and so like they gave him like what, like acting lessons?
No. He just kind of like how he is in the game. He's like, you're not real. You're not real. He says it just like that. Yeah. That's how he talks to the whole movie.
So this movie obviously was like a little indie project made by Warner Brothers, right?
I know, it was a big box office.
Big box office.
Yeah, it was a big one.
And they couldn't afford acting lessons for Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because they were focused on trying to integrate the animation with the live action. That takes a lot of effort.
So they make it all animated.
But then that wouldn't be as like, it feels less like a comedy, like it isn't as creative. You know, like it's creative that they kind of combine the two styles to build something unique.
Then B.
Original? You mean like original?
Alright, so.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so send all that.
Glass jars and farts.
Nope. Alright, so.
Glass jars and farts.
So send that all aside. Alright, so Michael Jordan gets abducted by the Looney Tunes and like.
Glass jars.
And they need him to play basketball, right?
Yep.
So can the Looney Tunes play basketball?
I mean, well, they can at first, and they're having issues, and then.
So okay, wait. So they're having issues. Why don't they just abduct more basketball players to play for them. Then?
Because they're the heroes. They're not supposed to do a bunch of bad things. Maybe just a couple mistakes
Okay,
here
but
and
they
there.
already kidnapped Michael Jordan.
But they're in trouble.
They're
They're
already
desperate measures.
committing
What else
one-
were they supposed to do? Just let themselves become servants of these aliens?
No. First off, they're not servants to be slaves. Second, if they already kidnapped one basketball players, why not kidnap more basketball players? Let them play for them.
Well, it would be harder because then you have to convince even more people to actually do it for them.
What do you think is harder? Teaching physics-defying Looney Tunes that can't play basketball to play basketball, or abduct and convince basketball players to play for them?
Well, basketball, it would have been easier to just have one guy that trains them like they did, and so they could learn, but they also didn't have to go overboard with the taking basketball stars thing.
All right, so Michael Jordan wasn't playing basketball at that point.
Yeah, the movie.
So obviously he wasn't good at it, right?
No, he's actually he actually does pretty well.
But he's not a coach, so how does he teach them?
Well, he just he gives them a bit of a pep talk, and he.
But that doesn't teach them.
He does a little bit of training with them.
Doesn't teach them.
I mean.
All right, so they're trained. Now what? What happens next?
What happens next?
Yeah.
So they train, and then they get to the game.
They get Sports Steel sponsors.
No, but they do sneak back into his house to get his special his basketball shoes and outfit.
Okay. So in that moment he's no longer kidnapped. He's back in his own home.
No, he doesn't go. Bugs and Daffy go for him, and they have to sneak in his house and watch out for his dog and his daughter.
So okay. And then what?
Well, they get it back and they bring it, and then they train a bit, and then they play the game with the Monstars.
And obviously they win, right?
Yeah, they do win.
All right.
Well, the Looney Tunes win, not the Monstars.
So is it a pretty clean sweep of the game? They win.
No, they struggle in the first half, and then they have.
Why?
Because they just have trouble. It's not their first game playing as a team, so
their first game after being trained for the first time in basketball, and they didn't think, hey, maybe we should kidnap more basketball players to play for us.
That's not very nice. They did enough already. Enough damage as it is. They can't just keep doing it.
They're bad in the first half. What did they do to turn it around? What happens?
They turn it around. Well, basically, so they have this whole thing, and they're in the room, and then Michael Jordan has he has this water bottle, and he convinces them that it's his special stuff, and they drink it, and then they become better.
Hold on. Michael Jordan gives animated characters sports-enhancing drugs.
Exactly. Well, not exactly. Well, because technically it isn't. It's more if he makes them think it is. But it's really just water.
So he uses psychological warfare on Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
It ruins my childhood.
He didn't know it. Nothing's ruined because your childhood is not this object. It's a one series that you haven't even said you've even seen the movie before. How could it ruin your childhood? Shut up.
That's not what's important. What's important is that Michael Jordan comes back. So after this movie, Michael Jordan goes back to playing basketball again, right?
Yep. Well, yeah, he does. And in the movie, they kind of make it seem like the reason in real life he did was because of that game with the Looney Tunes. Because in real life, he took a break from basketball. He said he quit. He tried baseball. It didn't go very well. Then he came back to basketball after.
Alright, so he drugs Daffy Duck, and then they play the second half. And do they win?
Yes, they do.
How?
Well, they use their skills, and then there's one
But they didn't have skills.
Well, it's psychological. They think they do, so they end up doing better because they're more confident.
They do better than aliens who have siphoned off the skills of athletes with years and years.
Well, so is Michael Jordan.
Of experience and skill.
Well, one man can make a big difference. That's kind of really the overall theme of the film.
Who is this one man?
Michael Jordan.
He isn't a coach. How does he teach them?
Because he knows how to play from skill. It's basically like teaching your kid to play and you know how to play. It's not this big, grand thing.
Yes, but if I taught a kid to play, I don't expect the kid to, like, dribble up and break LeBron James's ankles.
Well, again, there's a lot of things kids could surprise you. We have a lot of child prodigies in the world, dude.
Okay, wait, so the aliens, so so they have the skills of, like, holy shit, of the athletes. Are they as tall as the athletes too?
No. Well, no, the Monstars?
Yeah.
They actually get really tall too.
So how tall is the Looney Tunes?
Well, they're like a little bit. They're like
the size of my TV.
Yeah, they're a little bit. Yeah, they're a little bit like they were technically bigger than when they were tiny, but like relatively speaking, they're kind of like small animals.
So see, that's not something that any amount of skill can really overcome. If you're half the size of a basketball player, how the fuck are you gonna get the ball in the hoop? What the fuck? Daffy Duck is like so small. How is he getting it in the hoop?
Because he found a glass jar and farted.
This movie makes no sense to me.
You know, it's not the only thing that doesn't make any sense. You should see me on weekends. Oh, wait, it is a weekend. So, all right. So I think
with that we are gonna go into
break mode.
Well, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you wanted to go into break mode.
Well, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, you can go on break now. I'm doing breaks today. I'm going to be at all the games today.
Well, what were you going to say?
I don't know. What were you going to say?
I
don't know. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I love you, listener number 37.
And I just want you to know that if you find a glass jar and fart...
And with that, we're going to go to our sponsors. Be right back.
All right. Have you ever had one of those delicious English muffins scrambled in breakfast mold on your sink? Then you need Drano sauce. Wash away that dirty sinkhole with a little bit of Scrub-a-Double-licious. Oh man, I can taste my wife's wedding ring she threw down here once. That's right, kids, and today, if you want, you can get a free glass jar of farts if you order now.
And we're back. Yeah. And we're going back on break because we just got to a rest stop.
Okay. See you guys in a little bit. All right, everybody. We are back, I think. Or is it over? I don't know.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to our episode.
Yeah, that's all the time we have today.
And we're back from commercials. All right, guys. So, what was your favorite part about the new Lion King movie? My favorite part
was when it ended.
Hey, guys, what did you think of that new hit show that just came out called
Rick and Morty?
Street? I think Sesame Street is pretty
Morty.
Cool.
Well, I think Rick and Morty's like better than its manga
Street
version.
Is better than Rick and Morty.
Oh,
and it's on HBO Max too.
Yeah, because we're done and testing your badger mole. See if it's your problem now, dum-dums.
I actually went back and watched a lot of clips of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And it stands up. Like,
it does.
Even as an adult, there are some very funny moments.
Yeah, they have a lot of... It's really about, like, your attachment to the characters growing up. And even if, like, you're not, like, learning the lessons, it's, like, the charm of the characters is what really...
I think...
And it can be very... It can be very atmospheric and even psychedelic at times, especially, like, some earlier... Like, not the puppet parts, but, like, even some of the puppet parts, but some of, like, the animated segments they did. Like, some of, like, the numbers and the letter things are very, very hypnotic and creative.
I think the reason why is because when Sesame Street was created, it was created by the creator of the Muppets, Jim Henson.
Yeah.
And Jim Henson originally started out his whole puppet career with
the Ed Sullivan Show. He did Muppets for the Ed Sullivan Show.
It was much more targeted for those of older demographics.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of comedy and that style of writing has always persisted in everything that has happened since then, including in Sesame Street, and even after he died, continuing as it was written, is that kind of style of comedy. And, you know, it is written by adults, so obviously they want to make things that will make them laugh in it too. So, you know, sometimes the best comedies and the best creative things are done in writers' rooms where they're constantly coming up with lines and ideas to constantly try to impress their fellow writers or to make their fellow writers laugh in that room.
Yeah.
So I think there's very much there was always that good positive energy of that with Sesame Street. And so, you know, you watch Sesame Street and there are just some really well-written jokes in that.
Yeah, it's great. And the interplay between the characters is something like, you know, Bert and Ernie have really good chemistry. Mm-hmm. And I know in some ways, you know, it was controversial to some.
There's like, I've watched this compilation of like various Sesame Street episodes. And it's basically 15, so in the show, not now, but like maybe 10 years ago or something, Elmo, a big part of Elmo's social circle was this girl named Zoe. And Zoe, one of her deals was that she had a pet rock. And, you know,
yeah, you showed me this one.
So she is obviously takes the pet rock very seriously, whatnot, and Elmo, you know, was like, it doesn't. So there's like a good 15 minutes worth, probably even more, of material written in that show of Elmo just being constantly exacerbated by Zoe's pet rock, which is called Rocco. And like, you know, what's amazing about the show is this show, like, you know, is all fantastical and has so many, you know, imaginary elements in it. Like, you know, for instance, Elmo's pet goldfish will imagine up an adventure for Elmo, and Elmo will go on the adventure. But Zoe's pet rock, Rocco, does absolutely nothing. Like, there's no creative, like, angle of it. It's literally a pet rock. And so Elmo will constantly be like, Rocco can't do that, Zoe, Rocco's a rock! And stuff like that. And it is so simple yet so funny to see such a cheerful little guy like Elmo go absolutely fucking ballistic over a rock. And it's so funny, especially when it's like, Rocco can't do that, Rocco's a rock. I'm like, yeah, Elmo, but you have a goldfish. Like, goldfish can't fucking imagine you out in space either. You're dumb as hell, but you accept that. I don't know, it's so funny. Like, Rocco can't eat that cookie. Yeah. Rocco's a rock.
I know, he showed it to me because he said it was like, if you guys watch our previous episodes, I was talking about the demon Everon and how he's going to destroy the world. So my fictional character I created, and then Nick was kind of like, well, this is why I'm showing this to you, is this is like you with the Everon thing. And I'm like, okay, you're right. It kind of is.
Yeah, I didn't mean that in an insulting way.
I know, it was funny. It was a good charming, like, take that nod at the character.
It's like you are so in love with your story,
yes,
and sometimes the people around you don't appreciate what you've, the love that you have for it. You know, but I even if I don't show it at times, Josh, I appreciate how much you just love this story you've created.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being willing to just be open about it with me and tell me about it whenever you want.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you much. Appreciate it. I try to be more open in general. Like, I've told more people about it that are in the story. A lot of people really do like it. I notice it's really great when, like, you have a couple drinks and then you tell people about it because they're in the state of like, oh man, they were just so.
Because in a way, it is a form of flattery that you put all your friends in this story.
Yeah, and I build them as these epic heroes that save the day, and I give them powers, and it's not like, you know. What powers do I have? Well, the whole twist was that you don't have like the standard thing. It's actually that your mind is able to create all these wacky inventions and contraptions and everything. You're like the inventor. You're like the inventor, kind of like Sokka and Avatar.
My character to be a character who can just turn into a rock.
Okay, I'll add that to.
I just want to turn to, you know, like there's that Super Mario power up. The Tanuki shoot that lets him, like, when he grounds pound, he turns into like a statue.
Isn't that the thing that Kirby does? It's like Kirby's down smash.
Can you just do that with me? Can whenever I want, I just turn into a stone statue?
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, that's actually, you know what? That That actually doesn't sound like a bad idea, and I'll keep the inventor
I just want someone to be like, Nick's a rock!
Okay, all right, we'll do it.
I want Elmo as my sidekick who just pops out and is like, Nick's a rock! And then he goes away.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
just pops out
running
every time,
joke, yeah. It's like that thing on Family Guy with the Kool-Aid Man. He's like, oh yeah, and he comes in.
Okay, serious question. What is the Kool-Aid Man made out of?
You know what? Well, he's made out of glass, and you can have in a glass jar.
Yeah, okay, but
Damn
it! One of these days I'm gonna stop you from saying that.
Okay.
So that's the Beavis and Butthead reference, by the way, for everyone listening at home.
Yeah.
Right, but like the Kool-Aid in the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, it's his blood. It's his blood.
Is it blood? Is it actual Kool-Aid? Is it his all of his essential functions from that? Is the Kool-Aid we drink something that his body does his body automatically create Kool-Aid and that's what fills up his head and then the Kool-Aid company just just drains it from the Kool-Aid Man en masse and that's what we drink? Is there like an entire species of Kool-Aid men stuck in Kool-Aid factories who get their brains sucked out by the Kool-Aid company? Like, these questions, man, these keep me up at night.
I know, well, I don't think it's really that deep, but I think I know what you're trying to get at.
It is pretty deep. Do you see how big he is?
Yeah, true.
So the water's pretty deep. Like, a person can drown inside his head.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe.
A kid could. What happened if the Kool-Aid Man picked up a kid? It was like wee, and then he's throwing them up and down and whatnot, and then he threw them off a bit. Usually if you throw up a kid and you accidentally drop them, most times they're okay, right? But like, what if you drop them and they fall to behind you or something? But if the Kool-Aid Man is playing with a kid and he throws them up and then he doesn't do the aiming right and the kid then falls in the Kool-Aid Man's head, that kid's gonna fucking drown. Because the Kool-Aid Man can't do shit about that. He can't reach into his head and save the kid from drowning, and the Kool-Aid Man can't roll over and let the juice fall out of him because then he'll die. So what the fuck? The Kool-Aid Man just has a dead body in there. Well, what if the Kool-Aid in his head is not Kool-Aid, but it's like his stomach acid, and then that's basically him like fucking eating a kid? You ever think about that? I think about that. That keeps me up at night.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say that one of the things about that, it tastes delicious. Kool-Aid
just throws up the kid. Like, I want pick-me-ups, Kool-Aid Man. He's like, oh, okay, little boy. Yes. Upsies, we're gonna go through up. I'm just like, psh, and you hear pounding like.
Yeah, and then you hear surprise.
Let me out! And he just turns.
He's stuck in the,
And then he's just trying to look behind him and he's like, I'm so sorry, Josh! I'm so sorry!
Yeah, it actually turns out that the concentration of the acids and the sugars and the Kool-Aid Man's is stronger than the condensed version that they give people.
Yeah.
So basically the person disintegrates their bones. It's like a vat of acid.
Oh my gosh, the second they fall in there, they're already dead.
No, they turn to a skeleton. Then it's like, you gotta bleed it, you my plaza folks, please turn in all of your
Are we drinking the Kool-Aid Man's victims? Is that how he keeps sustenance?
Wait, did you say sus? Stop posting about Among Us!
Amogus. Alright, so now it's time for the show's my favorite segment.
Don't stop dancing.
Yeah, and so we're gonna dance
stops.
now. Do. Alright, that was some great dancing, Josh. Keep it up. Do. Alright, this is a great thing for people to listen to. Great.
Yeah.
Alright, now for my least favorite segment. What is that I spy? I spy.
I think it's
It's called I Spy.
Oh yeah, how about Spy versus Spy? No. Remember that show Mad on Cartoon Network based off the magazine? That's what I was thinking of.
Look, when I was a kid, I loved that, but now looking back, it was really low quality.
Well, that was kind of the joke. It was kind of like it was supposed. That's kind of how they're drawn. They draw it as it's supposed to be very like.
No,
it was
the
very
animation
self-aware.
was pretty good.
I mean, it was pretty self-aware.
The comedy was bad.
Well, the show was kind of self-aware at times. Like I would say that the thing about it was just very dated. Like, and it's like they picked like obscure things. Like they were like the episodes in 2011, 2010 was when they came out originally. Were all they were just pairing whatever the latest movie that came out of the week, and like they did at least 2 Twilight parodies. And like within like those like a few episodes apart for like a segment, but like it was always the most obscure things. Usually like all the reboots they used to do then. There was that really, I remember they did one. That was like it was one about like Glee, and it was supposed to be like a song, and then it was like making fun of how all the high school singing shows like do the same thing over and over again. And then there was that one. There was one that was that Cloverfield movie, but with Clifford the Big Red Dog. It was a lot of, like, the thing I liked about it, though, was, like, they would pick some really, really weird, completely different things and mash them together. And, like, it, in a way, it's kind of like, but it kind of worked in a way. That was the part that I liked. I think the dated stuff with the humor was kind of its flaw, but the thing that really worked for it. And then what I was referencing before were the segments in between, which are actually from the magazine. Animated, right? So Spy versus Spy is this cool little comic thing, and it's like there's like a black and white spy. They just wear like black and white outfits, and they're just trying to get each other, and they're trying to destroy each other. And usually one of them wins, or they both get defeated. I mean, it depends. But in the show, I remember that. But it had that little theme, and it was a cool, colorful kind of creative thing, and it didn't feel dated because it was just its own little thing. It was like a classic kind of. Characters battle each other, no voices kind of thing. Well, except he has a laugh, but there isn't like any voices or sound effects. So it's kind of creative. And that was kind of the thing I liked about it, was the parts where they tried to be like the magazine with the art style too. Like it really, a lot of times it does look like the magazine's caricature, like art style. So I will give them credit there. But I do agree. I think the thing that kind of made it kind of a bit not hold up as well is because it was very dated with like what movies it would choose to parody and whatnot.
Yeah, but even then, like, the parodies are kind of, like...
Yeah.
Kind of dated even by the time they came out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They had it animated all and everything. Yeah. It was just, like, really random.
Yeah, it's kind of... You know what else is kind of really random? like when you have a glass jar and fart. Still there? Hello.
Hello.
You got a long text message there, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Name and address withheld.
Alright, so that's all the time we got for this episode. Thank you for listening.
Yep.
We'll be back again.
And hopefully I'll be a little bit more, like, adventurous and chaotic.
I'll be a bit less distracted by my personal life.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.